Illinois is the only state in the United States that requires mandatory physical education K through 12.
That is correct, and I hope in the next 5 years it'll be 50 states. And we've had some loopholes in ours too. There's been some new government laws in the state that have passed that have allowed local school districts to make a decision on what's best for children in their delivery. They're allowing school districts not to have daily physical education, and that was a major mistake. This is called a tri-fit system. We do all of our fitness testing on here. We pre-test and post-test every kid in our district from 6th grade through 12th grade. When they graduate, they get a 14-page printout. Now, because of time restraints, we don't use some of the stuff here, but at the high school they do. It has blood pressure cuffs hooked right up to the computer. If I did a reading on you right now, I had a file on you because you were a student. We do body composition testing. The old days, if you did a fitness test, it was a pull-up test. Mm-hmm. This one, we isolate the biceps. You stand on the platform, which is an electronic scale, and it has a bar graph, and it shows you how many pounds of pressure you're lifting. And as soon as you get done, when you go to retest, your old score comes back up so you can compete against your old score.
Wow.
Flexibility test is done right online. Starting next year, we're going to go through the process of trying to email the scores home to parents just a little bit more effectively.
That way you know they get there.
Yes, exactly. The whole delivery of physical education back then, if you remember taking the fitness test, not only the mile run, but the sit-up test and the push-up test, and the flexed arm hang for the girls and the pull-ups for the guys, every one of those results, what everybody envied, was they really wanted, was the 85th percentile. And what we were back to is, who were we catering to? We were catering to the best athletes in the class. Mm-hmm. And the refocus of we do fitness test here, but it's based on healthy zone. When you perform a sit-up test or a push-up test or a cardiovascular or a mile run, do you do it well enough that you're considered healthy? The key is, it's not making talented athletes in our physical education classes, is we have to ensure that every kid there is active.
It's amazing. You get most of this donated?
With little exception, no tax dollars paid for the room.
Right.
Yeah, donation and fundraising and parent support.
And I saw your budget's
$1,000.
$1 student.
Dollar student.
Yeah.
And if the focus is on healthcare, what we're doing, and we are truly, I mean, how far out of whack is that as far as making a priority in the country?
Who designed this?
A guy by the name of Neil Nussbaum. He's out of California. And when he first called me, I almost hung up on it because he says, Phil, I read about your program. He says, I want to talk to you about video games. And I'm going, you're talking to the wrong person, bud.
Right. And so he's designed it so
the mechanism of the bike speed, you can set resistance. It's not an automatic resistance of going up and down hills.
Okay. Whoa.
Somebody taught me a long time ago, the best way to destroy an enemy is make him your friend. Well, we just made the video games our friend.
I mean, doesn't it make sense for like a video game company
to do this?
To befriend a school?
Yes, it does.
It's like they're all about consumers and building loyalty like any other company.
Yeah. They haven't figured it out yet.
I'm getting tired already.
You gotta go faster.
As we get into high-stakes testing, everybody in schools, administrators, school boards, and teachers are trying to say, we have to improve the science and math scores. And there's a Dr. John Rady out of Harvard that said, put it in layman terms, he says, we have now discovered the importance of physical activity and the brain. And he says, physical activity in the brain, we've now discovered that physical activity is the fertilizer for the brain. That fertilizer is so important, he says, I would call it miracle grow. And what we've now discovered is that extra blood flow to the brain and oxygen to the brain helps out those academic teachers dramatically. And so they're only scratching the surface about what we're finding out about brain research, but boy, it's some really powerful information. We had schools coming in from all over the country even before we got, now it's just escalated. Like right now, this month, we've been averaging 2 to 3 a week, coming through here. Well, we've sold to our community, we are going to create a lifestyle pattern and make it a habit for your kids to exercise on a daily basis. And we think, and we're convinced there's going to be some long-term effects. 97% of kids in a healthy zone and body composition is unheard of in today's standards. Once our parents saw value in what we do, they started supporting it.
How long did that take?
Our program has been in existence for 12 years. Our parents rated physical education the #1 curriculum in our building, above science, math, and English. I'll give you my favorite story to tell is Titusville, Pennsylvania. They're a rural, small farming community, and every budget in their school district had been cut the year before. They had a few factories around that had been closing. They had physical education at the high school level 2 days a week. Their guy came in here, and he went back, and in 2 years, He put a fitness center in his junior high, in his high school. He got a class set of heart rate monitors for his junior high. He got a class set for his high school. Year 3, he's putting a bid in to put a rock climbing wall in. He put a tri-fit at his junior high and a tri-fit at his high school. He got the hospital involved, he got the community involved, he got the parents' support, but he did it without a PEP grant. And the school district made a decision when the money was tight to put in a daily delivery of physical education at the high school level. So it can happen very, very quickly. Normally it doesn't happen that fast. You know, they're always comparing the American schools to the rest of the world and that we're so far behind. They actually take a test to determine how far we're behind, and it's called a TIMSS test. The only 2 subject areas they test are math and science. They take that at the 8th grade level, and they spend a full year evaluating the test. There were 38 nations in the world that took the TIMSS test, including the nation of Naperville, whatever that means. And when the results came back last March, Naperville finished number 1 in the world in science. We finished 6th in math, and the only area that we fell behind in was in metric measurement. I had a doctor, he came in here in sweats. We put a heart rate monitor on him, he did a workout, we did a tri-fit analysis, and at the end of the day, he came up and made a prolific statement to me, and he goes, Phil, I want you to understand, if physical education across this country was delivered the way you delivered here in Naperville, he says, physical education teachers can do more to affect the health of this nation than I can as a medical doctor.